You've had a traumatic event here. How are you doing?
Well, we're doing our best here to keep our heads up and keep pushing forward. Anytime something, major happens, it's a big setback, but it's one day at a time and one foot in front of the other.
Now, we picked this story up from the Erie TV stations, and what we learned is that on Friday night about 11:30 there was a fire in your basement. Mm-hmm. Can you recount any of that for us?
Yeah, I mean, just in generality, I'd been out running some errands, taking care of a few things, and I came home. It was around 11:30, something like that. I don't have the time right in front of me, but noticed that there was smoke inside the living room there when I opened the door. So I immediately backed off and called 911, and fantastic response from Ticeville Fire Department and Hightown Fire Department. I mean, those guys were so fast. They got here almost immediately.
One of the things that you mentioned on your Facebook page, of course, is you rather suspect that somebody did this with foul play involved in that. I suppose the most logical question would be is the state police fire marshal investigating this for you?
Absolutely, at my request. Looking at everything, excuse me, with the Hightown Fire Department and everything, it's obvious that somebody had broken into the home. There's pry marks on the door and among other things. So I had actually requested the state police. So they're investigating the burglary itself, the breaking and entering, and the fire as, two separate investigations.
Now, this is just from Friday night, so I imagine you probably haven't heard a whole lot about how they're doing with that.
No, and if I could, obviously it's an ongoing investigation, so there's not really a lot that I can share at this point.
What's next for you after this?
Oh, it's just it's back to the grind. It's back to working with the insurance company and getting the house cleaned up and getting my business back to where it should be.
How about Warfighter Up Radio? What's next there?
Warfighter Up Radio is we're undeterred. Regardless of whatever the cause was, nothing's going to hold us back. The studio was based out of my home and was a total loss. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment is now gone. However, I managed to piece together sort of a somewhat functional system so I can still broadcast. My fellow hosts all over the country have really picked up the slack as far as running some things that I can't right this second, and really no change as far as our programming and our message.
And what is, just for the sake of the story, tell us what the message, what your mission is.
Warfighter Radio is it's an internet-based radio station, and it's run completely by veterans and veteran supporters. And it's simply to, our mission statement's pretty simple. It's to engage, entertain, educate, and empower veterans all over the country. We face, warfighters face, a myriad of issues, from an epidemic of warfighter suicide. Over 8,000 veterans commit suicide every single year, to the stigmas of post-traumatic stress, to the issues with the VA. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So we try to give it kind of a rallying point, a place for our voices to get heard and to hopefully help address some of these issues.
And I suppose a couple of the wrap-up questions might be, this had to spark some deep feeling of anger or frustration or what have you. Do you have any idea who or what would have wanted to inflict such damage?
Again, that's we can guess all day. There's obviously some ideas that have been thrown around, and that's all being handled by the state police. I was extremely angry, but I'm taking that anger and that rage and focusing it back into the mission, and to getting back on my feet.
All righty, well, very good. Thank you for speaking with me today. I caught you kind of off guard and off notice and what have you. I do appreciate your time, and I do appreciate your efforts here.